go out on a walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out on a walk with you.
Good morning. Welcome back to another vlog.
I just wanna see your shadow next to mine, sailing over pavement with our two elbows. I like to see the shape you're in from time to time. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine.
Okay, so I totally just forgot to take any videos of the inside of that cafe. Whoops. Yeah, I just spent like 2 hours in there. But I had a really good little breakfast. I had a really good latte. I had a ruby rose latte, and they're like classic avocado toast with like a nice jammy boiled egg on it. Super good. Kind of awkward to eat. How do you guys feel about like loaded toast? It's something that I kind of have been thinking about doing at my shop, but like when you have a really good homemade bread with a nice crust on it, like it's really awkward to eat, and they just gave me like a butter knife. So maybe if I had like more of a steak knife, it would have been less awkward, because I really didn't want to like just pick it up and eat it, because I knew it would get all over my face with all like the avocado schmear. So like, please let me know what your thoughts are on like loaded toast, avocado toast when you go to coffee shops, because that just felt really awkward to eat by myself in there. Anyway, I finished the first read through of my first draft, so that's super exciting. It definitely took me longer than I wanted to get through it. I think I started reading it in the beginning of February, and it is now like the first weekend and it's now like the first few days of March. It should not have taken me that long. It's less than 200 pages right now. I will say I am feeling more inspired and more positive after finishing that. I got to read my favorite chapter, the one that I was looking most forward to reading, the one that I had the most fun writing, and I can really tell that I enjoyed that one. And I definitely wrote this one later on, and I can see how my writing got better. So it was more enjoyable to read. So we just need to take that little bit of magic that we had in that chapter and like sprinkle it throughout. Where am I going to go from here? I did say that I wanted to do 2 read throughs, and I think I need to. That first one was mostly just getting a bird's eye view, seeing what I have. And I've identified a lot of issues. I would say after reading that, I definitely need to focus more on upping the stakes, making sure there's conflict throughout. I want to listen to Brandon Sanderson's new version of his like plot, progress, payoff talk, because that's definitely something that I need to focus on. That is what the developmental edit is for. But I'm definitely seeing that. Like, I need to go sit down, write out my scenes, and that's kind of what this second read through is going to be. I don't think I'm going to be reading as closely. I'm going to be trying to write down those scenes that I have and then fixing things, pretty much. I also think I need to start working on like my Miro or Figma board to identify my problems. I don't know, I'm all fired up right now, so there's like a million things I want to do now. But in reality, what I actually need to do is keep working on my errands. So I'm about to go to Sam's Club and pick up a few things that I need for the coffee shop, and then I have my, about an hour drive home. So I'm hoping once I get back from these errands and I go to the coffee shop and unload all this stuff and do everything I need to do to prep for tomorrow, that hopefully at some point today I can get back to my computer and start working on those documents. So I'm so excited about it. I don't know. Was that a good update? I feel like there are a lot of things running through my head right now, And I'm super fired up and I want to jump into all those documents, but I knew that if I did that at this cafe that I wouldn't have time to get anything else done. And I do have a call at 2:00 that I need to take about wedding stuff. Like I need to talk to a vendor. So I need to be ready for that as well. So I gotta get going. And yeah, I need to not be in the store when they call me for that. So I will update you guys more later. Hopefully I have time today and I can work on more of this stuff. I also would like to go to the gym. I also want to walk my dog again since it's like nice and sunny. It's still a little chilly, but then I also need some like volunteer stuff. There's some volunteer stuff that I need to work on as well. That was such a nice like 2-hour period where I didn't have to worry about anything around me. I didn't have anything distracting me, and now I'm like jumping back into like the regular day, and it's overwhelming. But that's why these little writing dates are important. I will update you guys again later today. It's about 4:00. I'm actually at the coffee shop right now on my favorite little green velvet settee that we have in the shop. This is my favorite piece of furniture. We have a lot of like thrifted stuff, and we definitely are more of like a coffee house vibe kind of place as opposed to the really trendy industrial look that a lot of places have right now. So yes, very cozy, lots of couches and chairs. I am in the process of slowly like upgrading the furniture and swapping stuff out for more stylistic pieces that will complement our brand, because I'm actually rebranding. I haven't actually done anything in the shop yet that you can like see visibly a change, because I'm still in the first stages of it. I'm not going to say too much on it yet. I kind of want it to be a surprise. If you're interested in like a behind the scenes series on how I'm doing that rebrand, let me know. I might make that. But I did want to give you guys some other updates on the coffee shop as well. Stuff that's been keeping me busy in the past weeks that prevented me from posting on YouTube and even Instagram, like stories. One, I've been working on this crazy like audit spreadsheet to look at our menu. With that rebrand, there is a new direction I want to go. There's also like changes in the coffee industry, like the price of coffee beans is going up. This is because of like, for the first time in history, fair treatment of coffee farmers. Most of them are located in the southern hemisphere because that's where it's warm enough to grow coffee. A lot of those countries have suffered from colonialism. Unfortunately, specialty coffee and coffee in general has a very not bright history because it's so closely tied to colonialism. While the price of coffee beans are going up, that does mean that the price of coffee in your coffee shops is also probably going up. So that's one thing that I've been accounting for with this audit. Inflation in general is something I've been looking at. And then I haven't talked about this too much, but I actually took over this coffee shop from someone else. So like the old owners had it priced at a certain way, and those prices just aren't sustainable. Like I had a feeling when I saw the menu that some things were underpriced, and then I did this audit and I saw how badly some items, not all because we do seasonal, and I have been correctly pricing like our seasonal items. And there are some items that I brought on later on, like matcha. They didn't have matcha before, and that's priced out okay. I brought on fraps. Those are okay. I'm pretty sure I repriced we do milk tea, bubble tea here, and I'm pretty sure I repriced those when I came on. But yeah, I've definitely found some things that have risen because of inflation, risen because of the price of coffee beans going up. So yeah, I'm making those changes along with the rebrand changes. So there are new items that I want to offer with that menu, new specialties, but that means I need to take a look at our budget because your budget is what your budget is. So that means you have to change processes and how you're ordering inventory, and I'm taking stock of what inventory we do have and seeing like how I can use it up, what things I can discontinue and bring back seasonally. There's a lot going on behind the scenes with just our operations. And if you pay attention to coffee at all, you've probably noticed like Starbucks, the CEO is making tons of changes. He is kind of taking a local coffee shop, coffee house route by cutting so many of those items because it's just a lot for your baristas to learn. I found our menu did expand quite a bit as we were trying to cater to what customers wanted. And then you have items that just aren't ordered, and then you have inventory that expires, and then you're losing money on it. And that's like a whole rabbit hole. That's like a very me opening up the curtains a lot on the behind the scenes of a coffee shop. So yeah, restructuring our menu, looking at our budget, auditing prices. That's been a lot. But the other thing was, I guess we've had quite a few busy weekends. Last weekend, we did a latte art workshop. So I had a coffee friend of mine come who is amazing at latte art. Like, he's done competitions and he's won competitions. And I had him like come train the crew and like show them like really advanced latte art, like stuff that I can't do at all. Like, I can do like hearts and like I'm sometimes can do ferns. They're okay. It's definitely not perfect and I have room for growth. So him coming and showing us like how he does really advanced stuff like swans was mind-blowing for them because my team's never seen that before. We're in like a very small rural town. When people think of coffee shops, they do think of Starbucks and they kind of want a Starbucks, and I'm trying to push us more into specialty coffee. There's a fine line that we're towing there. But yeah, that latte art workshop was a lot of fun. That was really cool. We did that after hours, after we closed on Saturday. So that was a fun afternoon. And then the most recent weekend, we had Girl Scouts come and sell cookies, and I did a special like Girl Scout cookie drink flight. And I was basically here all day Saturday just making drink flights. That's like all I did, like back to back to back. So that was a really good one for us. That one was really popular. People really liked it. We'll do another one on March 15th. So yeah, that's kind of what's been keeping me busy lately over the weekend. Like, when I think normally I would have time to film, my schedule has just been expanding with the coffee shop. And unfortunately, I don't know, with the direction that we're going with the coffee shop, because it is in like a growth, expansion, rebranding process, my schedule is just going to keep getting busier with it and with the plans that I have. So I'm going to have to figure out what I can do to rebalance and free up my time to still keep my book project in priority. I still haven't set any deadlines or timelines with writing and my book because I am very nervous as wedding planning is really ramping up. But yeah, so I've got a lot on my plate right now, and I'm also trying to expand us into food. So that is like threefold. There's like 3 stages to that process. So the first is having us bake our own stuff in-house. Right now we have a wholesale baker, and that was a good move from what was happening before. So I've been testing a ton of recipes. Mostly right now I'm still just stuck on like a muffin recipe, but there are other things that I need to try. It'll also give us more flexibility. So if I randomly decide that I want to try something and see how it goes and see if that's like a bestseller, I have way more flexibility to do that. And then we'll also be doing grab and go food. And then in the future, I would like to have like loaded toast and breakfast sandwiches that we prep on site. But that means that I have to prep my commercial kitchen off site, which is where we would bake. And then I would have to get a commercial kitchen here, but we'd have to like close and do construction here. So it's a very long process. It will be happening in stages, but there's a lot going on with those changes. But they're big and it's exciting. Like, people want food in the community. I kind of want us to have food because when I'm here all day and there's just like pastry and I don't have time to like pack lunch and I can't leave, it's really frustrating. So it's a good move for us. We'll be moving out of just coffee shop to more of like a cafe.
Interesting how stories take on a life of their
I
own.
wanna see the same things you can see, understand the meaning on a new degree. Maybe that could happen when you're next to me. I just wanna see the same things you can see.
Is almost 7 o'clock. I made dinner, I walked the dog, I did some other things. I made chicken wraps for dinner. Those were really good, except my one complaint that I've noticed recently when I've been buying chicken breasts from the store, like, they're not organic or anything, they're just like the chicken breasts that I find on sale. In the past like 6 months, every time I bought them, made them, brought them home, they're like bouncy, and it is the grossest mouthfeel texture ever. My fiance said the same thing, and like, you can't think about it too hard, otherwise you just want to like spit it out. And we looked it up, and apparently it's just like growth hormone. Like, they make the chicken breast so big that now this is the texture of them. They're like rubber and bouncy and gross, and I had like one piece in my chicken wrap that was like really bouncy. And that's the weird thing, is that like, it's not consistent. It's not like the whole thing is like rubber bouncy, otherwise I just wouldn't buy them. It's just the most random sections are super rubbery, bouncy, gross. Yeah. So anyway, post dinner, it's almost 7 o'clock. I'm actually drinking a Mountain Dew, which is something I like never do, but we have them around and I wanted something sweet. Now it's going to help me power through this little post dinner work session. As I told you guys earlier, I finally finished the first read through of my first draft. I'm feeling very confident about it now, and I'm actually excited for revision. Like, I understand the people that have more fun in revision than they do in drafting. Now that I am through it and I actually get to fix it and problem solve. I think problem solving is going to be a lot of fun. I think the part of revision that is not fun is having to sit through your own work and not touch it. But if you start messing with it before you've read the whole thing and have a big picture, it's going to go downhill real fast. Because there's definitely been times where I was reading this and I was like, oh, well, I'll just fix this and I'll fix that. And like, I just had to like skim to get through pieces of it because it was just so like, ugh. And then earlier today, I read my like favorite chapter. I kind of told you guys this earlier today, but I read my favorite chapter that I wrote and the one that I was most looking forward to reading, and it's near the end. And it's definitely supposed to sit more in the middle. It is, I believe it's in Act 2 still. It's like the end of Act 2. But because of like how underwritten and underdeveloped my story is right now, it is sitting more towards the end. But that gave me a lot of faith. Like, there's some like glimmer of the author that I want to be that was in that section, and it's very motivating. It's very exciting. So I guess just to recap, Act 1 of my story I think is actually the weakest right now. It was the hardest to read. It seems to have like details in it. I felt like when I was drafting, I felt like it was the best developed part, but it's missing something. Like, it's missing stakes. It's taking a little too long to get us into the action. But how I set it up, like on paper in the outline, it's not supposed to be falling as flat as it is. So I do have an idea of what scene I think I need to add. There's multiple scenes, there's multiple things that need to happen. But I think one key idea will really help propel it into something that's interesting to read. Because if I were a reader right now and that's the book I was reading, even if it were like polished and cleaned up and everything, I would put it down, quite frankly. And I mean that in like the nicest way to myself. This is literally what second draft developmental edit is for, is finding where your pacing is slow, where it's clunky, and tightening it up and really, I don't know, adding that punch. Really did not like reading Act 1, but Act 2 was better and Act 3 is okay. Act 2 is actually the strongest, which is weird. It's underdeveloped. It needs more scenes, but it was more interesting to read than Act 1. And Act 3 is way too short. It's way too abrupt. There's a lot I need to add to it based on things I noticed in Act 2 that I'm setting up. The other two big things that need work are characters, like I would say like character arcs, but literally just like characters, character voice, how they would speak, just like they need more solid personalities. Like, it's just character. I need to work on character development and then figure out how to write that stronger. Is that going to be my focus for this first pass, the second draft? I don't know. The first pass of the second draft of revision? No, that is not going to be the focus, but it's something I'm going to have marinating in the back of my head and starting to think about. I've also noticed opportunity for side characters. Like, I've had these ideas of how I want to tie in more Bangsian fantasy elements, how I want to tie in more religion and spirituality. And then there's one character, side character, but very important to Edith, who is my female main character. That side character is like her, there's a specific term for it that they use in Save the Cat, but it's like her Act 2 friend, buddy, very important. And there's supposed to be like some mystery around this character and some big reveal, and so I'm having to track that really carefully, and I don't like the way it's unfolding right now. In earlier scenes, Act 1, of course it's Act 1 that is such a mess. I think what happened was that I was trying to find my footing and I wasn't as confident at that time, and I was still feeling really guilty taking time to write. We haven't really talked about this, but part of the reason I finally got like the push to write this book was that I was kind of unhappy with life, and I felt like I was having to do a lot of things for others. Like, I was prioritizing others, and my life feels so out of my hands. Like, why am I spending so much time on these other things that aren't my goals? And I was really unhappy because I was not a priority. Like, my goals, my dreams were not a priority. So writing the book is kind of what got me there. Anyway, I think Act 1 is so weak because I was still feeling really guilty for writing, taking any time to write at that point. That was before I started doing AuthorTube. That was another step where I was telling myself, like, it's okay to want to write a book. It is okay to take time for yourself and to work on this thing that is so important to you. Like, it's okay. It's kind of what I needed, especially because Act 2 was closer to when I started AuthorTube, and I can see how my book and my writing really like elevates, and I can see myself get into it more from Act 1 to Act 2, and that's so crazy to me. So if you've been thinking about starting an AuthorTube or like an author TikTok or something, take this as your sign. It might be the kick in the butt that you need. It might be the thing that you need to allow yourself, the permission you need to allow yourself to really get into your writing and not feel guilty about it. And I'm definitely seeing a payoff in Act 2 from when I started to take myself more seriously as a writer. So that's wild. Yes. So then Act 3, I think we just need to beef up a bit. They all need work, they all need help, but for being a crappy first draft, I'm actually very happy with like what I have to work with. I now know what clay I have to mold. Now I'm going to start taking time to organize and kind of mold that clay a little bit. So I'm about to hop into one of my spreadsheets, my revision tracker. I have a whole video on like how I'm handling revision and the tools I'm using if you want to go check that out. But I'm going to go into that tracker and start writing down the scenes that I have. And I might even add some of the scenes that I think I need to add, and I might highlight those in a different color. Today, the creative juices are flowing. The positivity is here. I'm very excited to be working on this project and starting revision. All right.
I just wanna go out and walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you.